Alright, I'm not going to make you choose tuna in some sort of weird matrix style, but before we even get started, I want to know down in the comments, do you prefer canned tuna or fresh tuna? While this one's about $6 a pound and this one's $12 a pound, I already know that there's going to be preferences in which one you pick, not even based on the price. Some people just really like the flavor of this, some people like the flavor of this. So in order to make these two parties combine, I'm going to give you two different recipes to make a tuna sandwich. So let's get started. So for my canned tuna, I like to use the solid white albacore. The other stuff just gets kind of like weird and mushy, and there's bones in it usually, but I never really have a bad time with this. Take both cans and drain them pretty thoroughly. And now that they are drained, go ahead and add both of those to your bowl like that. So this is obviously just going to be kind of bland, salty, dry tuna. We need to add things to this to make it even better. And I feel like this is one of those times where you can go by preference as to what you want to add to this, but if you want to follow along to what I'm doing, here's what I'm adding. About 1/4 of a pickle, like a whole pickle, not just the spear here. I want this entire thing in there. I want it to be pretty minced. And I would say use relish, but I've kind of quit using relish ever since a recent video where I had some and it just didn't really sit right with me. Something about the relish they add to it that just, I don't know. Something was not quite right about it. But if you do use relish, I'd say at least a couple tablespoons. And instead of mayo, I honestly like to use sour cream more often than not when making stuff like this, like deviled eggs or anything really that involves mayo. Mostly because it adds a lighter texture to it. I've recently made some tuna salad with some avocado oil mayo, and it was fine. It's just I realized that mayo makes things really greasy and heavy. And whenever I use just sour cream, it's not the exact same flavor, but it adds a creaminess to it without it being so dense and greasy, like I just said. In lieu of mayo, if you want to use mayo, go ahead, use whatever you want. Tangent aside, I went ahead and added about 1/4 cup of sour cream to this. Let's go ahead and season it up with some salt, maybe about 1/4 teaspoon worth, an actual pinch of black pepper, about 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, and finally just a little bit of lemon juice just to add that flavor to it. I'm not worried about the acidity. I do want that lemon flavor in there though. Go ahead and give this a mix. And then give it a taste for seasoning. That's perfect for me. And like I said, add whatever you want to this. This is just what I prefer. Sometimes I like to add some spice, sometimes I don't. It just depends on the day. So you can go ahead and throw this in your fridge for about 10 minutes just to let those flavors get to know each other. And while that's in the fridge, we can go ahead and make our bread portion of the recipe. And we're going to be making enough for both sandwiches. And we will be using my flatbread recipe for this. So here I have 2 ounces of ground pork rinds. To this, I'm going to add 4 eggs, as well as 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So go ahead and fork all that together. You should be left with a pretty thin batter. And grab yourself a parchment line or silicone line mat baking sheet and get all of it on there. And now just get it smoothed out into a big rectangle. This is going to be for both sandwiches, so it should be rather big. And once your rectangle is done, we can throw this in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 5 to 7 minutes or until everything is just set. If it's looking like there's liquid on top, just keep it in there until it's not. You do want to cook this until it's done, but if you do start overcooking it, it does dry it out pretty quickly. I'm going to let this cool off, and by the time it's done, that means that my canned tuna salad should be ready. And we can go ahead and make our sandwich. I think you know how to do this part. Not even going to explain what I'm doing. Get it folded over. And this is what the canned tuna sandwich is looking like. It looks pretty good. It looks like a tuna sandwich. Let's go ahead and give this a taste and I'll let you know how it is. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn with this one, but I'd say it's like 90% perfect. I realized as soon as I took a bite that a boiled egg cut up into this is what I really wanted. So if you're thinking about doing that, I highly suggest doing that. But other than that, it's just a solid tuna sandwich. It's a nice quick lunch, and I think you and your friends and your family and your dog and cat, your goldfish are going to enjoy it. This video, like pretty much all of my other videos, is sponsored by my company, Carnivore Companion. We have these 5 seasonings. Head on over to CarnivoroCompanion.com. Use the code CarnivorousChef to save 15% off your order. And be sure to sign up for the email list to make sure that you're the first to know about new products and new discounts. Alright, I have my block of frozen tuna finally defrosted. If you can find it fresh, find it fresh. I can't because I live inland, so I get frozen tuna. And I want to kind of mimic the way that smoked salmon is, even though I'm not going to get anywhere near close to that. But I want to use my seasoning smokestack. This is from my company. Like always, CarnivoroCompanion.com. Use code CarnivorousChef to save 15% off your order, so check us out. You can use this if you want to. You can use a blackened seasoning. You can just use salt if you want to do this. But for my purposes, I'm going to be using smokestack. Get a nice coating on it on all sides, because I would like to do a play on a bagel and lox sandwich, but instead of the lox, I'm going to be using seared tuna. So once yours is nice and seasoned up, let's get a pan out and set over medium-high heat, and go ahead and add a little bit of olive oil or some bacon grease or use whatever fat you want. Just add some fat to the pan so we can make sure that this doesn't stick to it. And once the oil is nice and shimmery, we can go ahead and take our tuna and place it in and start to sear. Just make sure you have an even contact. If you have a flat piece like this, it should be quite even. What I'm gonna do is count to about 40 seconds, and as soon as that 40 seconds hits, I'm gonna flip it and keep doing that. That's looking pretty good. Flip, and you're gonna repeat this for all sides. And this is what you should be left with. It should be a nice sear on every side of your tuna. And I will go ahead and make a correction. I meant to say you'll do 40 seconds on each side of the bigger pieces. And on the thin sides, I did 10 seconds on every side. And now that this is seared, I'm gonna let this rest on my cutting board for about 5 minutes because I also do want to refrigerate this. I want it to be cold by the time I go to slice it. Now that this is cooled off, we can go ahead and start slicing this into semi-thin slices. You don't have to go crazy thin by any means, but do what feels good to you. Probably, I don't know, 1/4 inch thick. But either way, no matter how you slice it, this is about what it should be looking like. Honestly, went a little too hard on the edges on the left and right side, but it's still going to be nice and tender, and the outside should be well seasoned. So let me get this sliced up real quick. So yeah, it should be nice and actually pretty raw in the middle. Have a good sear on the outside. And now we can go ahead and make our sandwich. And to do so, I got some whipped cream cheese and just absolutely way too much everything bagel seasoning. Couldn't find the small one at the store, so now I'm the proud owner of 1 pound, 6 ounces of everything bagel seasoning. Got my flatbread. First thing I want to do is get some whipped cream cheese right onto it and just spread a thin layer of it all the way across. And after that, do a nice layer of your everything bagel seasoning. And now you want to get it to where you're going to fold it, which is going to happen soon. And just start layering on your seared tuna. And before I close it up, I just want to show you how pretty it actually looks. It looks quite nice. Go ahead and fold it over. And I do want to go ahead and get a cross section as well. It's looking pretty damn good. It almost reminds me of like a steak sandwich, which is, you know, I'm not mad about that either. Let's go ahead and give this a shot, and I'll let you know how it is. Yeah, this is really good. It almost feels unfair to like compare this to the canned tuna. The tuna's nice and tender. It's got a nice sear on the outside, so you get a little bit of texture from that cooked part of the tuna. The smokestack comes through pretty well, actually. Adds a little smoky element to it. The crunch from the everything bagel seasoning adds a lot of good texture to it. And the creaminess from the cream cheese, obviously, helps this lean fish go down. And then the breadiness, as always, is just a nice addition to anything. I really do think you should try this, but if you're scared to do that, maybe stick with the canned tuna. But if you're not, definitely try this. Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Before you leave, I just want to say thank you for watching till the end. That's it for the video. See you all in the next one.